Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Policewoman accused of being lottery scamming mastermind arrested in U.S. A female police constable is in custody in the United States on allegations of being the mastermind of a lottery scamming group operating in Jamaica and America. Shellyan Shereen Allen was arrested on Friday. The group is being accused of defrauding over 20 elderly Americans of approximately US $1.69 million. It is being alleged that over US $128,000 of the sum was directly sent to the policewoman's account. An indictment obtained by reporters indicated that Allen and other known and unknown persons conspired to commit fraud by wire and conspiracy to commit fraud by mail in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1341, 1343, and 1349. Reporters understand that Allen was arrested by the investigators of the Border Control and Protection Division and that she has been under observation since 2019. Investigators say the policewoman conspired with others to devise and carry out a telemarketing and mass marketing scheme that targeted vulnerable victims in order to defraud and to obtain money by means of materially false and fraudulent precedents, representations, and promises. The probe has been dubbed the Allen Lottery Scheme Organization by U.S. law enforcement. It is reported that Department of Homeland Security database indicated that Allen entered the U.S. from Jamaica 9 times between January 2019 and September 2021. The investigators reported the trace transaction to Allen's U.S. bank account. Additionally, it is further been alleged that records indicated that there were 24 purchases of various retailers in Florida, including Gap Hotel, Marshalls, Marcy Foot Lockers, Old Navy, Elegance Perfume, Polo, Ralph Lauren's, and Victoria's Secret for a total amount of US $2,440.43. It is also been alleged that the total amount withdrawn from the account from those transactions was $5,004.01. Reporters understand that law enforcement has identified 6 alleged co-conspirators said to be part of Allen's scheme. When contacted by a reporter, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime Fitzbailey confirmed Allen's arrest. Bailey, however, declined to say whether she was on the radar of the police in Jamaica or if any other member of the constabulary force has been linked to the scheme. A police source reported that Allen's arrest has left persons disappointed. She was attached to the St. Andrew North Police Division. Butchered. Community in shock as 24-year-old suspected of slaying parents in grisly attack. When crashing sounds jarred some residents of Christian Meadows in Portmore, St. Catherine out of their sleep about 4:30 a.m., they could not fathom the ghastly reality that would greet them after 2 members of their community were slaughtered in the dead of night, allegedly at the hands of their 24-year-old son. 55-year-old Minister of Religion Cecil Ramsey and his 55-year-old wife Phyllis, the acting vice principal of St. Andrew Preparatory School, were both laying dead inside their blood-soaked Aristide Avenue family home. "I'm very surprised. It shocked the whole community," said one resident, as shocked community members gathered outside the home trying to make sense of the killing. "When I look on the phone, it was 4:38 a.m. He, the suspect, is the one that drove and crashed in the gate, and he is not a driver. Him crashed around there and rode out a tree, then drove to Phoenix Scheme where he crashed again," the woman said. The police report that they received a call and went to Phoenix Park in Portmore and spoke with security guards about a Toyota Axio motor car registered to Phyllis that was abandoned in the community. Bloodstains were observed inside upon closer examination, and the couple's son, who is suspected to have committed the act, was later apprehended after being found wandering inside the community. According to the police, during an initial interview, he admitted that he had stabbed and killed his parents. He was then escorted to the home where the bodies of the parents and the suspected murder weapon were found inside. Christian Meadows Citizens Association President Sonia Morgan, an immediate neighbor to the Ramseys, said that she had been observing when she now deemed to be unusual behavior in the suspect for as far back as September last year, when he began to withdraw himself. He withdrew from social media completely, put down his smartphone, and bought a banger so that it would be just communication and contact with family. He would exercise by running around the block, and other young people such as my son and my cousin, and he stopped, Morgan said. He is a GC Foster College student, nearing final year, doing very well, very popular on campus, she added, noting that in the community setting, he was not a loud here, there, and everywhere person. Describing the young man as the baby of the Ramsey family, warm, soft, and loved by all, Morgan said that she knew he was a teaching assistant. She said, however, unsure whether he was still teaching. He withdrew, then he started to speak strangely, like he doesn't have to study past exams anymore, saying, the Lord will just let the information come to him, and that type of thing, she said. You hear these things on the news, and you hear people saying, I don't understand. He was decent boy, and people would get skeptical and say, yeah man, always a decent boy. But in this case he was, Morgan said. Another resident reported that the Ramseys were very close-knit and insular as a family. But we understand because it was the parents who are like that and made their children like that. They don't go to the gate and stand up and talk to people. They don't go over to people's house, the resident said. When reporters visited the St. Andrew Preparatory School, the administrative staff was receiving grief counseling. We are just now in a session with the chaplain. I wouldn't be able to pull the principal out, a teary-eyed staff member said. The school security guard was also feeling down. Me no think them can talk, you know, she said. Me weak like a rat. Up to late yesterday evening, the suspect, who remained in custody, has not yet been charged. No motive for murder of woman found dead in Linstead Cane Field. Police investigators are seeking to establish a motive for the murder of a woman whose body was found with stab wounds in a cane field in Cheesefield, Linstead, St. Catherine yesterday. She has been identified as 44-year-old Nicola Sital, who is from the community. The discovery was made by cane cutters who raised an alarm. The police were called to the scene. The police say the woman's face was bashed and her body had multiple stab wounds. Investigators theorize that the woman had put up a fight with her attacker and that she may have been killed elsewhere and her body dumped in the cane field. The discovery has left residents shocked. Jezariah Tyrrell murder accused remanded. The Kingston laborer charged for the murder of 10-year-old Jezariah Tyrrell has been remanded for a bail application on February 25th in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. The 22-year-old accused, Tommy Powell, otherwise called Redhead, of a James Street address, was remanded when he appeared in court on Wednesday, and an order was made for the prosecution to make full disclosure to his attorney at law, Devarna Wilson. Powell is facing shooting with intent, illegal possession of firearm, and murder charges. Tyrrell was shot to death at her home in Wildman Street, Kingston, on Thursday, December 30, 2021. Reports from the Kingston Central Police are that about 2:50 a.m., Sarah and her relatives were asleep at home when a relative reported they smelled gasoline and heard strange sounds on the roof. He went to investigate and was pounced upon by intruders who attempted to gain entry into the house while firing at the occupants. When the gunfire subsided, it was discovered that Jezariah was shot. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Following an investigation, Paul was arrested and charged. 2 charged for murder of man in Central Village. The police in St. Catherine have charged 2 men for the March 2021 shooting death of Uriel Pinnock in Central Village in the parish. 35-year-old Kemar Hardin, otherwise called Stummer, a farmer of Old Harbour Road in Spanish Town, and 20-year-old Dominic Diner, otherwise called Swims of Central Village, have been charged with murder and illegal possession of firearm. It is alleged that about 9:35 p.m. on Friday, March 26, 2021, Pinnock was standing outside his gate when Hardin and Diner and other men opened gunfire at him, hitting him to the head. Pinnock was pronounced dead upon arrival at hospital. The police say, after months of following leads, Hardin and Diner were arrested on January 28, 2022. They were subsequently charged after a question and answer session. Their court date is being arranged. Booster dose of AstraZeneca vaccine now available. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising that all eligible members of the public will be provided booster doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine effective Monday, February 7. The move will allow Jamaicans 18 years and older to receive a booster dose of AstraZeneca once they are fully vaccinated. Booster doses can be administered to persons who have taken AstraZeneca and/or 6 months after their second dose, persons who have taken a Pfizer vaccine and are now 6 months after their second dose, and persons who have taken Sinopharm and are after 6 months after their second dose. To receive a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, members of the public should visit any of the ministry access points for vaccination. Persons are asked to take their vaccination card and a government-issued identification or letter from a justice of the peace. Meanwhile, effective Monday, February 7, Jamaica will offer AstraZeneca Johnson & Johnson vaccine 28 days or later to persons who receive the Moderna vaccine as the first dose in their primary series. Additionally, persons who receive the Sinopharm vaccine or a first dose can be offered AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer as a second dose 28 days after their first dose. Persons who received AstraZeneca as their first dose may also be offered Pfizer as a second dose 8 to 12 weeks after the first. Once persons have received 2 mixed doses, they will be classified as fully vaccinated. Former Olympic Gardens Police Station building earmarked for housing development. The building previously served as the Olympic Gardens Police Station in St. Andrew, West Central, is to be transformed to provide housing solutions. This is in keeping with the government's thrust to further boost Jamaica's housing stock. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure during a tour of the structure on Friday. Holness, who is a member of Parliament for the constituency, said the building, which has been situated at the Bayfront Villas housing scheme block for over 40 years, was showing significant deterioration, for which overuse as a police station, noting it wasn't built for that purpose. He indicated that the building will be renovated, with the works to include electrical, plumbing and general infrastructure upgrades. He advised that the project will be financed through the West Central St. Andrew Trust and spearheaded by the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change and the National Land Agency. They would have control over this to allow the trust to upgrade it, refurbish it, and, through a certain mechanism, make it available to beneficiaries in the constituency, he further pointed out. Holness also disclosed that 1 unit will be retained to be used as a shelter for the police. We note that there are many police officers who have to travel long distances and aren't able to find places to rent close to the station they work. Indeed, some of them work overtime and they will need a location where they can stay, he said. Additionally, another unit will be used as a community center for the residents of Bayfront Villas. The rest we will use to relocate persons from other areas in the constituency where other housing projects are going to be built, which is always a challenge. When we have to build on irregular settled land, the people who are there often have no place to reside, and it becomes a real challenge, Holness disclosed. With these 5 units that we will retain, we will be able to take some families off the existing plots that we intend to develop them, return them, and move to another set, the Prime Minister further added. Holness said the project forms part of the government's commitment to provide 70,000 new housing solutions. Some will be provided through a market mechanism, some will be provided by subsidy or through public means. Some will be provided through charitable and private means such as this, and some will be provided as free housing for persons who are justified as beneficiaries, he indicated. 264 new COVID-19 cases, 4 more fatalities. 4 more COVID-19 deaths have been recorded in Jamaica, increasing the tally to 2,691. The deceased are an 80-year-old man from Clarendon, a 75-year-old man from St. Catherine, a 72-year-old man from Clarendon, and an 89-year-old man from St. Elizabeth. The Ministry of Health says the deaths occurred between January and February. 2 more fatalities are under investigation, moving that figure to 405. Meanwhile, there were 264 new cases, with ages ranging from 1 day to 97 years, pushing the total to 125,781. Of the new cases, 154 are women and 110 are men. The cases are recorded in St. Catherine 51, Kingston and St. Andrew 48, St. James 26, Hanover 20, Manchester 17, Trelawney 16, St. Elizabeth 15, Portland 14, Westmoreland 14, Clarendon 12, St. Anne 12, St. Thomas 12, and St. Mary 7. A total of 1,941 tests were conducted. The country's positivity rate stands at 25.2%. In the meantime, there were 372 more recoveries, increasing the total to 71,281. Some 412 persons are in hospital, with 79 being moderately ill, 40 severely ill, and 110 critically ill. 19,197 are at home in quarantine. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.